without further ado, she needs no explanation. She's one of those people that her attitude and her just general aura is very contagious. I knew it after one of the first times I spoke with her. We have been through a battle and back with some bottles, I guess is what you would say, and those turned out to actually work in our favor. So anyway, she's a person that you really can't not say the middle name when you say their name. So every time I think of her, I'm like, that's Laine Elizabeth Loftis. So without further ado, Laine, take it away. Give us we're ears for the next however long you want. I know you got a busy schedule, but we're all ears.
Oh, wow. I am so excited to hang out with you guys this morning. Can we all shout Emmett out in the comments? Because you absolutely challenge us and push us and inspire us and motivate us. We love Pink Life Tribe. So yay for Emmett. Thank you for this opportunity. We all love you. Okay. So I'm Laine Loftis, Laine Elizabeth Loftis. I'm a wife and a mama to 4. I've been with Plexus for a little over 5 years. And I'm going to tell you my story. But first, I want to start us out with a quote from Kendra Hall. She has spoke at some of our events, and I absolutely love her. She changed my business because she shares how to tell stories. And telling my story, I believe, is one of the crucial parts of why I got to where I've gotten to this point. So the quote says, most companies and leaders have accepted the lie that repeating the mission statement is a sufficient bridge for connecting and motivating teams, but not Plexus. Plexus is about the people. We're about the stories. We're about the testimonies. We're about connecting and being authentic and bringing value to people's lives. So I also just want to shout out the company that we get to work for, the company that we get to stand behind. It blows me away. Every time I go to a training or an event, every single time, I'm again blown away by how beautiful this company is, how beautiful this community is that we work for. I mean, look at us all joining from all over the place to one little Zoom call, because we all have a vision and a dream and a goal, and we're about cheering each other on and helping each other and using our gifts to help each other. And I think it's amazing. So the point of that is our stories matter. Oftentimes in the beginning, you tell your story once and you're like, whoo, my armpits are sweating. That was terrible, but I did it. And then that's it, right? What's important, no matter if you joined yesterday or if you're a diamond or if you're a double diamond or whatever, your story matters. And stories sell. Facts tell, stories sell, right? So before I tell mine, I want you to write down yours. I want you to jot it down on your phone, in the notes, or on paper, whatever. I want you to jot down your Plexus story. What is it? What's yours? It's very important. And then I would like for one person afterwards to share what they wrote with us. So keep that in mind. Somebody get up the nerve to share your story with us. And that's how we're going to start today. For 5 minutes, we are going to write our stories. So ready, set, go. Okay, guys, we are back. Jen, yes, it is. I don't know how to respond to you because I'm on my phone instead of my laptop. Okay. Did you write your story? Did you only get a paragraph in? Do you have way more to write? If so, finish it today. I've been doing this for 5 years, and every time I write my story, I get all wound up. Last night, I was writing notes for this Zoom and for another Zoom I'm doing later, and I came out. My husband was reading a book on the couch, and I jumped on the couch and I said, I just love my job, babe. And I do, because we get to tell our story. And as I tell my story, I see Jesus. I see that he used this to change our whole life. And it's important that we share that. It's important that we remember and get excited about that. Can y'all hear me good? Shake your head, yes. Okay, great. Okay, good deal. So I would love for somebody to share their story with us that they wrote. Rita, I saw you almost unmute yourself, girl.
I was giving somebody else a chance to see if someone else wanted to tell their story, but I'm good to go if they don't.
You go right ahead, sister.
Okay. So when you asked that question, I wrote down, what does the healthy version of you look like? Because mine has changed over the 6 decades of my life. And 12 years ago, I was in the best shape when my husband and I went snow skiing in Angel Fire, New Mexico, and I hit a patch of ice and hit a tree and broke shattered two vertebrae in my back. And what came out of that was therapy, mobility issues, pain management, and weight gain, because the less you move, the less you can. And then I took care of my mom in her hospice and my mother-in-law in her hospice, and my health got pushed further down the list. And so 5 years ago, I was told I need a double knee replacement unless I lost weight. And I said, well, what else can I do? But my niece had posted about a pink drink and shared with me that she really thought that it would help me. And like many, I was worried about the cost. And she said, well, you know, assisted living is expensive. And so is knee replacement. And so I started taking the products, and a lot of my symptoms started getting better long before the weight loss hit, the restless legs, the things that had become a new normal for me. And I retired from teaching to take care of myself. And what came out of it was a love of self and love of others. And God has used healing to help me reconnect to my core. And my husband and I have been on a journey to better health. One of our motivating factors is we learned we would be grandparents. And my daughter asked me to watch the grands. And I knew that at that time, 4 years ago, about four, I couldn't do that safely. And now I can. I'm an active Mimi. I chase the kids around and play puzzles on the floor and do yoga and make shakes and throw healthy things. You know, my grand comes in from school wanting a shake with a tasty drink. And it's just the most amazing transition for me. So Plexus brought a new life back to my husband and I, to our marriage, to our finances. And although my team is slow growing, I am really happy with the people I'm able to work with, and know that consistency is key in my products and in my business. So I'm thankful because I trust God and his timing. And my husband retired from a job he did for 33 years, and we are now directed by what the people God puts in our path to help. And post Hurricane Ida, we've been doing a lot of hands-on stuff that we couldn't have done 5 years ago physically. So Plexus has given us a purpose and a vision and a community that supports us and loves us for who we are, and that these products work at any age, from the very young to the young at heart. And you know, speaking as a person who line danced with you at a leaders retreat, my joints couldn't have done that 5 years ago. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
And you're sticking to it. I love that. If you guys don't follow Rita, definitely follow her, because her story is something you can share with so many. Your story, Rita, is one that I have shared with other women that's inspired them that you don't even know. So how cool is that? See how your story goes past you, it goes beyond you. Stories focus your attention and forge bonds based on trust between people. So I'm going to give you a tidbit of my story. I just jotted down while we were all writing our stories, I jotted down some just basic points of my story. My name's Laine Loftis. I am a wife and a mother to four. I already told you that, but it wasn't always that way. It wasn't always that way. I'm a small town girl. I'm a logger's daughter. My mom stayed home with us kids. I had a normal upbringing growing up, good old knockdown, drag out fights at home, but also a lot of love, a little bit of everything. Whenever I was graduating high school, first of all, being bubbly and happy and fun and joyful has never, ever, ever been something I had to try at or think about doing. My mom struggled with depression her whole life. I didn't know that's what it was. I thought every mom spent 2 weeks at a time on the couch. I literally didn't know. Now, looking back, I see the struggle that she had, but I never did. I just was blessed with true happiness, true joy, no struggles as far as that aspect. Now, when I graduated high school, all my friends were looking at colleges, going to college. They knew what they were doing. You know, they had these dreams and these visions and these goals, and it was just good for them. I did not. I did not. My only like vision or dream or what I wanted to do was get married, and I had a guy in mind and have kids. That's it. But I went to college because where I live, if you don't go to college, you're a loser. People think, well, you know, what's she doing? what's going on with Laine? I did it because of pressure. So I gave myself debt because of pressure, and I'm a college dropout. That was never my dream, my vision. Honestly, I envisioned if I was to think of my life in 10 years, I assumed I'd like live in a trailer on a beautiful hill in the country and have a husband who loved me and be barefoot, hanging clothes on the line with little children running around. Like, my vision was not an actual career. It wasn't an actual dream house. It was joy. Like, when I think of my future, when I think of the next stage in life, my kids are young right now. When I think of the next stage, I'm thinking of what's going to bring joy. I'm thinking of us gathering around a table. I don't know what the table looks like. I don't know what town we're in. I just think of the feelings that I want. And I felt like that wasn't good enough. So that's why I went to college. Being a college dropout, having that in my past kind of stung a little bit. It was embarrassing to me. And then I married the guy that I had in mind. I married him. We have a whole long story. That's for another Zoom, but I married the guy. He was in real estate. I went to cosmetology school and I loved it. I loved hanging out with women all day and making them feel like $1 million. I found a little bit of my calling there. I opened up my own salon and I found a little bit more of my calling there. I really liked being my own boss. You can ask my parents. I've never been good at people telling me what to do. I stink at it. So I found two things that I loved. I loved loving on people and being my own boss. My salon was very successful because I also love proving people wrong. The town I put my salon in had like, I wish I could ask Michael, the population is, definitely under 1,000. Didn't make sense for that to be successful, but I wanted it so bad to be. During this time, we were trying so hard to have babies. We had been married for 4 years, still no babies. And we had tried, if you've been in that situation, if you've dealt with infertility, I sit on my head, y'all. I mean, I did all the things all the time. For 2 years, we saw doctors. We did it all with no luck. The doctor said we would have to do something that was going to cost way more money than we would ever have. And I struggled. I struggled with that. Michael's faith was strong. Mine was not. The women who deal with infertility and they say, I trust God and I know that He has a plan. That was not me. I was not that woman. I was the one standing out in the rain saying, God, why? I'm so sorry. Please don't do this to Michael because you're mad at me. Like, I was struggling with my faith. I thought I was being punished. It was a whole journey that was hard, so hard. Finally, for no reason other than the Lord, we got pregnant and had the just sweetest little baby boy ever. And he was my miracle baby. I just said, this is my miracle baby. This was it. This was our child. And lo and behold, we got pregnant again. I thought, oh my gosh, okay, we can do this. We can get pregnant. That wasn't just one miracle. Who knows how many miracles we'll have. And so when I had my little girl, so I had a boy first, had a little girl, I decided to quit the salon because no matter how much I loved it, I hated leaving my kids. It did not come natural and I could not get used to it. It was awful. All the women that I loved seeing come into my salon all those years prior, suddenly they'd come in, I'd be like, I don't want to be here. This is not my calling anymore. My kids are my calling. So I quit doing hair. We were broke as a joke. My husband he switched from real estate to insurance at this time because it was more consistent pay, but still we had enough to pay the bills and a lot of financial stress. We got pregnant again. so excited, and we miscarried the baby. I woke up one morning and I knew, but I didn't want to say it, because I thought if I said it, it would make it more real. But I knew my body was disposing of something that I did not give it permission to dispose of. And it stunk bad. I'm not an emotional person normally, and I'm so tough. And in that moment, I just couldn't be tough. In that moment, I was just like, babe, we're losing this baby. And the next couple of days were hard. If you've been through a miscarriage, you have to go to the doctor and they draw blood and you're like, Lord, let there be a heartbeat. Lord, and it wasn't. And we lost that baby. And I would come home from the doctor's, the last doctor visit I came home from, I thought, okay, toughen up, Buttercup, put on your big girl panties and let's go. You got 2 kids that need you to be joyful. And so I put that out of my mind. I did not deal with those emotions. I did not deal with any of that. I put it out of my mind. I did exactly what the doctor said not to do. I got pregnant immediately. So I needed to fill that void. That's not the way to do it. That's not the way to do it. I needed to get with Jesus and lay in his lap and grieve. But I didn't. I always do things the hard way. Had the miscarriage, got pregnant. After I had baby number 3, our rainbow baby, guys, it was out of my control how sad I was. I couldn't fake smile. I couldn't even pretend to be okay. I was crying all the time. I was so sad. And I hated myself for that, like strong hate towards myself, because I had 3 kids. I had begged and pleaded with the Lord to give me 1, and he had given me 3, and I didn't even want them to talk to me. Like, I had this newborn. I just remember nursing him and feeling nothing but tears come down my face. My heart felt nothing, just tears, tears, tears. And I, of course, didn't tell anybody this because I was way too prideful. I still struggle with that. Didn't tell my husband, nothing. And so one day on a Sunday night, he came into the nursery without knocking. And I was like in the middle of a cry, nursing the baby. That's where I would go to cry. He goes, oh my gosh, what's wrong? That's not a normal thing in our house for him to just find me crying in a room. And I looked at him and I just remember feeling these words so much. I said, I don't know. Like, we both knew something's bad, wrong. I don't know. I didn't believe in depression. I didn't even know. That was never even crossed my mind. Didn't believe in it. And he said, well, babe, we need to get you some help. And I was like, well, you need to not come in without knocking next time. I was just immediately mad because I was embarrassed. And a couple of days later, I had a horrible mom day. Like I said, in my house growing up, I love my family. They're awesome. There's a lot of yelling. And I had promised God in my years of pleading and begging, I said, God, I promise I'll never yell at my kids. Please. And on this day, I yelled at my kids for doing the one thing that I'm always encouraging them to do. Jump in those mud puddles, get dirty, have fun, like country kids. And we were getting ready to go to the library. I had this perfect mom day planned out, and they went and they got dirty. And I yelled at them, like psycho voice, yell, like, what were you thinking? And they both were just looking at me like, where's my mom? Because I had never done that ever. And in the middle of that, I just started crying right in front of them like a psycho person. Started crying because I just hated that I did that. I felt so bad. And so I reached out to a girl. And this girl's name is Deborah Hoppy. She's a Diamond Ambassador. And she wasn't a friend at the time, really. We just went to church together. And I knew she was like the nicest human ever. And she was honest and truthful. And I know I could trust her. I had made fun of Plexus specifically. I had made fun of people who took selfies specifically, like made fun of them out loud to my best friend, Brooke, who is now an Emerald Ambassador. But I let go of pride and I reached out to Deborah. And I said, I'm really exhausted. I didn't want to tell her all the things. Can you help me? Fast forward 2 weeks. She got me products that day. I ordered as a retail customer. Fast forward 2 weeks. I wasn't crying anymore. And I wasn't taking a nap every single day when the kids took a nap. And those two things might seem minor to some people. It was everything. It was everything. And so I made a post on Facebook. I wasn't an ambassador. I just felt convicted, like, wow, people see your highlight reels, Laine. You need to tell them the truth, what you experienced. And then maybe this can help them too. It was truly from my heart. I didn't know anything about the business. Wasn't an ambassador, nothing. And I got so many messages. Oh my gosh, I feel the same way. Oh my gosh, I never knew you had a bad day, Laine. Well, yeah, I do. I realized people could relate to me if I just told the truth, the whole story. I became an ambassador that night. That was 5.5 years ago. And it's been a journey, ups and downs and all arounds. If you're in this business and if you've been in it for a while, you know that. You know there's ups and downs and all arounds. Okay. That's my story. And I know you're thinking this has nothing to do with gut health. Get to the point. We're here to work. But that's my whole point in this, is that our stories matter. And since then, I've told other stories from my life, stories about how my parents got a divorce since I've been an adult and how hard that was. I've talked about infertility. I've talked about my husband and I's marital problems. We almost got a divorce. I've talked about the real of motherhood, not just the highlights. I've talked about my shame, my insecurities, high school trauma that happened to me. And every single time I tell these things, it's not easy. It stinks when I'm getting ready to make that post or tell that person. It's hard. But two things happen every time I tell another part of my story. Number one, it frees me. So hard, but it frees me. It's like it's all in here and a little bit got let out and a little bit got let out. Number two, it makes me relatable so others don't have to feel alone. And guys, if that leads to changing their life through the Plexus products or compensation plan, awesome. And if it doesn't, still awesome. It's a win-win when you tell your truths, when you tell another part of your story. Okay. Let me switch my notes here. I wrote down all kinds of things last night because I got so excited. So the next thing we're going to do for our IPA is I want you to tell your story on social media. If time allows, tell it on Facebook, Instagram, and then even work on a story, an Instagram story. I use the app Story Swag. If you don't have that app, I encourage you to download that and use that. I love to use that for my stories. And I want to say one thing before we go to break. Don't overthink this. Some of your Enneagram numbers, I'm not professional on those, but there's a couple Enneagram numbers that you're already thinking, oh, what do I say? What picture do I use? Oh my goodness, got to perfect this. Don't do that. The app is Story Swag. Yes, Story Swag. Don't overthink it. Just tell your story. Or if there's a little piece of your story you've never told, and as I was telling mine, you remembered that, just tell that. It'll free you and somebody could relate to you. I would have loved to hear that somebody else had been through the crazy things I was going through in that moment. I felt so alone. So for the next, 10 minutes, I want you to tell your story, make a post, use a picture of yourself, your family, something like that. Not of products, not a graphic. Be real, be genuine, be you. Once you get a post on Facebook and Instagram, work on a story if time allows. Okay? All right, guys, I'm going to mute myself and let's get going. 10 minutes.
Nobody recognizes this oldie.
I came in as the sun came up. She glared at me over her coffee cup. She said, where you been? So I thought real hard and said, I fell asleep in that hammock in the yard. She said, you don't know it, boy, but you just blew it. And I said, well, that's my
I'm the cheese king. Like, I'm so cheesy, it's not even funny.
Well, I ain't got a witness, and I can't prove it, but that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I got that deer in the headlight look. She read my face like the cover of a book and said, don't expect me to believe all that static, cause just last week I threw that hammock in the attic. My skin got so thin you could see right through it, and I stuttered, well, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. That's my story. That's my story. Oh, that's my story. That's my story. Yeah, I ain't got a witness, and I can't prove it, but that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. You know, the time comes when a wise man knows the best thing that he can do is just look her in the eye and beg for mercy and face the bitter truth. Well, honey,
While you guys are working, I just want to ask you, like, I just feel led to ask you this one, like, how many times when we're writing or we're giving our own personal story, do we, is it hard? It's difficult. And one of the things that we're promised is like this song has just got me pumped up. I don't know if you listen to this song, if you listen to the words of this, is as my hope is in, and you are my firm foundation and you'll never let me down. And so one of the things that just, man, I'm just so pumped right now is that even though my story may be so wrecked, so wrong, so terrible, so I promise you're not alone. Everybody in this room has a story. Everybody has a side of their story that they don't want to tell, that they don't want to share. And what makes you authentically you is that you can tell that story and know that you're going forward and you're moving forward, and that we have been there, done that. You're not alone. You haven't done it by yourself. Your story, I promise there's going to be a story worse around the corner. But the thing about makes us who we truly are is that we own our story and that we share our story and tell our story. And so while you finish your work, and Laine, I love the fact that you're talking about your stories because, man, this is who we are. We can't. So many times I chased success and greatness, and I chased what everybody else's thought their story should be for me, and not what my story was that was planned out for me way before I was even born. But I spent too much time and put too much emphasis on what people thought my story should be, and chasing and basically rewriting my narrative, then focusing on what I had in front of me and my story that I was living. And so I just, man, if this song gets me so pumped up, guys. Our story is not finished. Your story is not finished. And nobody says that you can't change the chapter of your story at any given time. And this is the hope that you have in your business. Change is around. Oh, change gonna come. Oh, that's another good one. Oh, I gotta mute myself. I'm finna get tore up from the floor up. Y'all don't even understand. Love y'all.
Amen. Yes, yes, yes. I love that. Let's finish up with that.
I'll still bless you in the middle of the storm, in the middle of my trial. I'll still bless you in the middle of the road when I don't know where to go. I'll still bless you in the middle of my storm, in the middle of my trial. I'll still bless you when I'm in the middle of the road and I don't know which way to go.
All right, friends. I know you probably still have some more left to do, so just hit pause for a minute. And then when we get off here, finish up whatever the Lord's laid on your heart. After Emmett's little sermon there, I gotta go get my husband's favorite book is Chase the Lion. And I love opening his book because he's highlighted all the best parts. So I just gotta go through and read the highlights. But my favorite part in this chapter of the book, it said, Jesus also said, I will build my church and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. Gates are defensive measures. So if there's a gate, there's a part of your story that there's a gate there, like, nope, I'm not going to enter that gate. Guys, I have had them. Listen, they're a defensive measure. In other words, we're called to play offense. Faithfulness isn't holding down the fort until Jesus returns. Faithfulness is taking back enemy territory by shining light in dark places. So if you think there's a dark place, you get your flashlight out and you shine the light of Jesus on that and talk about how he brought you through that. Okay, so if that won't get y'all sweaty and hot, I don't know what will. But I'm going to stick with my notes. Okay. How many of you, when you started Plexus, you were told to make a list of 100 people? Is that still a thing that people do? So I was, and I wrote down 100 names because I think a part of my success is doing what my uplines told me to do. So respect the people that have gone before you. They know what they're talking about. Just do the things. I did it. But guys, there was no heart connect with that, to be honest. There wasn't. So for me, for Laine Loftis, we're all different. I couldn't think of 100 people and pray over that list because I'm just thinking of people there was no heart connect. But 10 you can do. So we're going to end this with, and I was going to give you 5 minutes to do this, but this is just a challenge to do when we get off the call because I want to respect your time. I want you to think of 10 dream teamers. A dream teamer is somebody that you know that they need these products, and these products will give them a story that'll change so many people's lives, will change their life and all the people around them. Think of 10 people. And I want you to write down their names. Go comment genuinely on a recent post of theirs. Now, if the post was 2 weeks ago, don't do that because that doesn't make sense. But if they've made a post in the last couple of days, leave a genuine comment if you have one. If you don't, then don't. We don't want to be fake or not authentic. Be genuine, be real. Then I want you to set an alarm to go off 3 times a week. I usually do Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays. And my alarm will go off and it'll just say, pray for dream teamers. And I've got their faces in my mind. I know exactly who they are. And I pray, Lord, if this is your will for them, give me wisdom in how to pursue this. Give me wisdom. Be willing to do what God says. You can't pray. It's just like everyone, I've had people say, I've watched 3 trainings a day, Laine, and I'm doing all the things. And I say, are you watching the trainings and doing what they tell you to do? Or are you just watching the trainings? Because that's not going to get you anywhere. So just praying with no willingness to act is not going to get you too far. You've got to do your part, but pray for them at least 3 times a week. I have to set an alarm for everything. Many of you probably don't have to do that, but for me, I have to set an alarm or I won't pray for them. And then as you're praying for them, if you feel led to send them a message or make a comment, it's reminding you about them 3 times a week. 10 you can do. 100 maybe you can do, but 10 for sure. I encourage you to think of 10 people. I'm going to be doing the same thing. So I want to encourage you, if you're brand new or if you're a diamond, there's still dream teamers out there, and you're still the one that they are going to listen to. You're still the one they're going to trust, no matter where you're at in your business. If you don't think you have influence, you are absolutely wrong, because you do. You're leading people. How are you leading? So we were going to do that for 5 minutes, but that's just a challenge for later. I wanted to give you my daily IPAs. People ask me, what do you do every day? Well, it changes how much time I spend every day on my business, and what my IPAs are change depending on what my goals are that month. But no matter what, these are the IPAs I've always done every day, no matter what stage I'm in. And like I said, sometimes I have to add to those depending on my goals, but post in my stories. Post in your stories, your face, your voice, your life. It might not seem interesting to you, but it makes you relatable. It doesn't take time as long as you don't overthink it. You don't want to spend more than 5 minutes putting a story up. That's not making you money. That is not doing anything but wasting your time, and your time and your family is valuable. Post in your stories. Make a post on social media. Check your comments. Send messages. A lot of times these are follow-up messages or messages complimenting somebody or a happy birthday message, and check-ins. What I call check-ins, other people call follow-ups. Checking in with your people that you've talked to about Plexus. Checking in with your people that got their products in the mail. I do those things every day, like seamlessly, mindlessly. That's just what I do. That doesn't take very long, guys. All those things shouldn't take more than 1 hour. Set timers. If you're one to get sidetracked and have squirrel moments, set timers. I set timers for everything, because it's important to me to get back out that door to my kids and homeschool them and teach them the word of God and all the things that are priority. So set timers. Minimum that I work is 1 hour a day, average 3 hours a day. And all of that has changed so much with each month, with each goal. So don't say, well, this person works this many hours a day. It's going to change depending on your goals. But when I asked what people's questions were, that was some of their questions. Okay, we're going to end. Well, 2 things. I want to encourage you, if you are not planning to be in Orlando, You need to buy you some Mickey Mouse ears on Amazon and wear them suckers while you work. And I want you to write down your goals. Like, what's your goal? Is your goal just to qualify? Because that's amazing to qualify and go on this free trip, guys. It'll wreck your world, wreck your world. My first Plexus event was a leaders retreat with me and my husband. That little baby Chase and that rainbow baby was with us. It wrecked my world. It's amazing. And I couldn't believe that I had earned a free trip. That's not normal with a job. Jobs don't send you to places for free, you know? So if you don't think you can go, I want you to change that right now. Write down what your goal is, and then write down what you are going to do every single day to make that happen. Not what your team is going to do, not dependent on anyone else but you. Because we can't blame our upline, downline, or sideline for what we are doing, right? So take ownership of that. And then we're going to end with a Les Brown quote. If you've never watched Les Brown's video, Hungry, you have to do that immediately after this call. It's called Hungry by Les Brown, and it'll get you all fired up. I listen to it literally all the time. I could probably say the whole video to you right now. A quote of his that I love is, in order to do something you've never done, you've got to become someone you've never been. I think that all of us have great potential within us, but greatness is a choice. It's not our destiny. And in the pursuit of our dreams, we are introduced to trials, failures, and disappointments, which take us to the door of discovery and greatness. And I believe that every single one of you that are here have what it takes to make your dreams and your goals happen. So I encourage you to do the challenges that I have left with you. I thank you for listening to me blab for an hour, and I'm going to turn it back over to Emmett. I hope you guys have a great day.
Laine, you're incredible. Thank you so much for joining us for this hour. I got a lot out of it. I feel like I tend to get a lot more out of things when they're raw and emotional, and I appreciate that aspect from you. Guys, work with me. I'm tongue tied, Laine. You have me tongue tied. Work with me Wednesday, every Wednesday, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Same link, same password. Tell someone about this. Listen, I understand Zoom meeting after Zoom meeting after Zoom meeting after Zoom meeting can get a little tedious and a little tiring, and you're like, but I'm telling you, these Work With Me Wednesdays are a little bit different. There, we get raw, we get down with it, we get to the nitty gritty, we figure things out, and I love it, and we're growing each week. So tell your team members they need to be here. And then now I have, give me just 1 second. I'm gonna give y'all a link for a discount for the next until 2:00 tonight. As just a token of thank you so much for being here and caring about your business. Let me see if I can play. Oh yeah, here we go. I'm dropping it in the comments in the chat. Here you go. Use that link, and that's also the code at the end of there. So if you want to save some, boutique bundles are back, guys. I hope to see some of y'all this weekend. I'm excited. Jennifer Lee, do you have anything? I think she's good. Anyway, I'm sure she'll let you know. Guys, I'm going to end this meeting. Laine, thank you so much again. Can't wait to have you do this again. See you next week.